on me and Raz, the childhood friends, business partners, and partners in crime. I love to introduce Raz in many different ways. For today, I introduce him as a magician in strategy and uh, great marketeer and sales genius. Probably we are all CEOs. We would like to see personalities in different cuts and lights. Probably Raj fits many of that textbook roles. He is first my childhood friend, as I mentioned, and my first well-wisher and business partner for last 34 years. In the journey, I could have gone wrong in many different ways, but he always hold me tight, and we are here today talking.
I'll tell you now a little bit of behind the scenes. Before that, thanks to the Bangalore chapter and all your efforts and all those things, the shoot is happening in Colombo in the GPR. Very happy for that. Yeah, as Naga said that very long time we have both were associated and childhood friends for last 50 years and partners for last 30 years. Naga comes with a lot of visionary and strategy. He is very strong in certain things and strong, no need to be good in all the times. Strong is also a challenging. And then a journey is together, that's more challenging. And so we had a lot of fights, arguments, and behind the boardroom. But in the front of the scene, people don't see that kind of thing. Whatever it may be there, those are all behind the scenes.
Raz, if you see today the marketing for all businesses, that is very important aspect. I always believe, and you prove to be right, of all the things, sales is the most difficult thing. Taking money from the customer's pocket is even more difficult. For that, there were different strategies, so say in 93 or even before or today. Those days, when we used to write letters to influencers and meeting influencers in person, now the influencers marketing on the social media, what kind of evolution you see and what are those fundamentals still holds true?
I mean, before going into social media and this thing, I truly believe that marketing is not. A lot of people confuse marketing as hoardings or print media or television ads and this thing. For me, marketing is designing a product which excites customer. Where it is little bit beyond the product and the product management is like an example of you take a car. People are supposed to buy a car based on its engine, based on its safety features, based on its fuel efficiency, based on its seating comfort. But most of the times, including you and me, especially me, and with what is the color of the car available, what the leather seats are not, maybe in the early days, maybe it's Bluetooth or not, audio system and all those things. Lot of accessories dominates than the necessaries. So this is what actually marketing plays a significant role beyond the product. That's what we can call it as either packaging or theater of the product. So how do we design beyond that is I feel is a real marketing. It could be even in service industry. If the product is different, even service industry, how do we, in a school, for example. So many of the schools feels that a role of a teacher is teaching. But role of the teacher is not teaching. The role of the teacher is leading 25 children, which is a leadership role, which is actually a manager role. A teacher should be trained in how do we manage the 25 children, not only 25 children, but also 25 mothers and 25 fathers. So these are the accessories. See, if you look at from the product point of view, maybe teacher should be accredited to IB curriculum, or maybe she is a good technical background, subject background, and all those things the schools see. But if you can add these perspectives to the product, either you call packaging or theater, that's the real marketing I feel.
The way the storytelling to the customer, you see any evolution and changes happened then and now, and how are you picking the new ways of doing it over the time?
So the customers are evolving first of all. Like for example, 25 years back, there's a study recently I read somewhere in five-star hotels, The if somebody is checking in, coming for checkout, checking in the room, 25 years back, the tolerance level for the waiting period to check in the room was around 10 minutes. If they don't mind 10 minutes to wait for a check-in, today the tolerance level has come down to 1 minute. They don't want to wait beyond 1 minute and this thing. So how do we make it fast? The storytelling is more of understanding what background they are coming from, what they are looking for. But when you look at a scale, it's very difficult. Like for example, you take a restaurant or you take a school, any of the service, any of the product, whatever you take, customers come from different backgrounds. Their needs are different. Say some customer comes to eat pasta for a restaurant, some customer comes to eat pizza for a restaurant, some customer comes to eat biryani in the restaurant. So their needs are different, their physical needs are different, but their emotional needs are same. Same in the school. Some comes for a good English school, some comes for a good mathematics background, some comes for all-round development, or some comes for a basketball kind of thing. All their needs are different, but their emotional needs are common, very common. Every customer's emotional needs are very common. What emotional needs they look at? When they go to school, they should feel that they want to feel that the teacher listens to me. When I go to the school, they recognize me. When I go to the school, I don't need to wait to search somebody if I have a challenge or problem. If there's any problem, they respond immediately. These are the emotional needs. This is what should go. It is not storytelling, story in action. That is the changes we are evolving over the 25 years I see.
So, how do you see it going forward in the age of AI and things the way at a rapid pace it is changing?
So one of the digital evolution, the recent singularity, this thing professor said that at our age, we prefer, if we go to restaurant for example, we prefer to order to a steward than a QR code. So maybe kids around 30 years people, for them digital or in-person taking order is same. They don't mind anything. But if you look at the kids around 14, 15 years age group or 16, 17 age group, they prefer digital. So it is definitely gravitating towards digital. So how do you engage a customer? If in a restaurant, for example, how do you engage a customer when they are sitting on the table? So can you engage a customer meanwhile their order comes, either idli or dosa or biryani, whatever they order, before it comes, can you engage how much time it take, what are the ingredients we are putting into their order? So let's say somebody ordered Hyderabadi biryani, what are the ingredients we are putting into that biryani and all those things, how fresh they are, and what is the background about the steward who is serving you? That's the story. So the emotional connect with the steward who is serving. Stewards in this country, in India, are usually uh, not educated, maybe maximum 10th, 12th kind of this thing, but still you can create a story. What kind of hobbies he has, where he is good at, or whether what the family he has, what's his favorite food, and all those things, what his favorite movie star, all those things you can talk, and what he is good at, so that the customer also feel and customer also empathize towards the steward and this thing, and also same about the food, how long the food can take, all those things we should take into digital.
You mean to say show them on the screen, or let them read, or what
At
kind of?
this point of time, I'm not talking about show them on the screen. It's not actually making of the food I'm talking about. It is engaging in the conversations. It could be a chatbot poses as a backend assistant, and people know that it's a chatbot. It's not that hiding the fact or something, but that some level of engagement today customer prefers. They don't, as I said, the hotel example, the check-in time has come down from 10 minutes to 1 minute. The waiting times are also coming down in the restaurants and this everywhere. Like for example, as we run a restaurant on highway, I always tell our managers that if your dosa gets more than 7-8 minutes, they will get in Jepto or Blinkit kind of thing. I jokingly tell that in less than 7-8 minutes. So look at how fast you can make that order. But certain foods may takes its own time. So because most of the times we sell good food, not the fast food. So when we are doing that, that waiting period, if at all there is there, how do we engage that customers? That's the most important thing. It could be conversational, not showing the how the food is making and all those things.
So again, to go back to the same point of sales and marketing, why I'm emphasizing that particular piece is in this age and time when with AI and other things, every business is so rapidly evolving and everybody is so concerned what's next and what's going to happen to our business. This is one thing, end of the day, business is all about taking money from the customer's pocket. Whether a customer is willing to pay or not, and by making them feel still this product is value, this product is worth paying, and it's a value for money. It's a fast changing and fast evolving process. So different businesses, so be it commodity business or be it any kind of services, that is one of the key challenges everybody faces. If the moment if you have order, you provide the service or a product within that cost range so that it makes profitable for the business. But if we look at today, if we talk to many people, there is so much of concern whether this business is going to be same next year or the year later. Whether the technology that I am not seeing, I don't even understand, is going to hit my business even before I realize it. So, in this, of course, two important factors. One is strategy, how you are going to take your product up in the curve so that your product still makes relevance. As you said, marketing is also about creating a product that customers love and love to pay for it. Apart from that, any other insights that you share?
First of all, you are better person to talk about AI and all those things. You can leverage it more. But I just want to tell you, over 25-30 years, if you look at what we have noticed in small towns to any cities, how do people make commodity into experience to create value year on year? Let's say, for example, take in a town like let's say Vijayawada. So there are two small coffee vendors selling coffee. One coffee vendor is selling coffee at 10 rupees, and immediately the other coffee vendor starts after 6 months, and he offers at 8 rupees. Then this guy makes at 6 rupees, and the other guy makes at 4 rupees. So the competition is going on like on the price war. It's a pure commodity. Coffee is everybody makes, especially in South India. It's a filter coffee, and it's a every home affair and this thing. But nobody makes money when somebody is selling coffee at 4 rupees, for example. In those days, even nobody makes money. So suddenly one day, one guy started in the same road selling coffee at 100 rupees and putting the board as coffee day. So he has created certain brand, certain experience, and same commodity, same coffee, maybe in a decent environment and this thing, he is able to sell that product at 100 rupees. Then maybe after few years, then other guy is selling at 250 rupees, naming it as a Starbucks, a Tata Enterprise, whatever it may be. So how do you add experience to the even the commodity product? I mean, I agree that in the bulk volumes like B2B kind of thing, experience matters less, very less maybe, but specifically the areas of discussion in the consumer production services, experience matters a lot.
So, the next area of interest, of course, we both do spend quite lot of time in conversations. Strategy to create something, strategy to um, evolve it, and even strategy to exit. So, at every stage, day in and day out, what wins the game is two sides to it. It is strategy. And for so many decades, we both disagree on many things, as you mentioned, and disagreement is what many times both of us have mentioned is not disrespect. That differences are actually key to growth and success. Each of us look at these differences very differently. Still successful. We are so lucky to walk this far. How do you see them, and how do you share with our friends in CEO Club how to approach to it?
The differences part,
Yeah.
this thing. In a long journey, specifically when there are a couple of founders in the organization is more, but I still feel even the one founder also, but in a big organization they have a lot of senior management team. This also is a lot of times similar. If you really leverage their skills and their this thing and not in a ownership mode kind of thing, if you look at the professional mode, the challenge is same and this thing. What I feel is I little bit take beyond the two or three co-founders kind of situation to a large enterprise of maybe 10 CXOs and very vertical driven businesses. How do they manage these this thing? See, while we are looking at bigger things, being entrepreneurs, we always aspire for the higher goals. So when I personally feel that goals is on the top of the pyramid, look at the bottom of the pyramid. What is there in the bottom of the pyramid? Approach from the bottom of the pyramid. Do not focus on the top of the pyramid and focus on the bottom of the pyramid. Bottom of the pyramid, the layer is trust. How do we build trust among the top management? It could be co-founders. As you said that we learned over years that disagreements doesn't mean disrespect. How do that level of trust in the senior management of maybe 10, 20 people kind of thing, organizations can build trust. And one of the topic we're discussing about a long-term leadership. Long-term leadership is a lot of trust and a culture. So if you combine and look at these kind of things, the bottom line is trust. The next layer is conflict resolution. See, we both look at the same goal. We both look at the same goal, and many a times approaches are different. When approaches are significantly different, there is a big conflict. So above the trust layer, we need to spend how do we resolve those conflicts. So without resolving the conflicts, you can't look at the goals. And without the bottom layer of trust, you can't resolve the conflicts. These are the sequence starts with trust, then resolve the conflicts, then only you can drive ownership to the people and this thing. Then only the commitment comes and this. A lot of times, so people think that there is no focus in the people, there is no ownership to the teams, there is no accountability. All these things people talk about. These things are very difficult to build unless otherwise you build a layer of trust and also eliminate the conflict resolutions. See, for example, in between us, there are many conflicts. We were always trying to do that. Now you tell me, how do you think that the new digital evolving AI will shape up businesses? It is you. A lot of time, I'm sure every day 16 to 18 hours are working on AI, except the sleep time. So, how do you see that AI disrupts or helps businesses?
On that point of trust and conflict resolution, I'm seeing more threat because of AI. Because now what has happened, each one of us are talking to our AI assistant a lot more, and AI gives so much of clarity of thought, and without even realizing, each one is more deeply convinced of what they are thinking is right with a distilled clarity. Suppose if I create something after talking to, say, ChatGPT, and put all my intuition, intentions, everything to it, and it creates such a clear, distilled story to me, and strategy and everything perfect according to me, and I bring it to you. The first thing you do is you go to ChatGPT again, and you have built a personality of checking it in different other ways. it gives you so much of a different path. And it also has a lot of memory of our own personality and overall thinking. We both end up seeing way two different versions of it. And likewise, in a boardroom, there are 7, 8 people sitting, and 7, 8 so different versions. Earlier, it was not practical at all for so distilled different 7, 8 versions. As a result, it used to be a lot more easy, but now, without the awareness, if we approach, it is going to be catastrophic. I see a big challenge. The only way is to have a lot more trust.
I do understand your point. One is lot more trust, and also as you said that these AI assistants are also very well. We are training them very well. So your assistant talks to your convenience, and my assistant talks to my convenience, and this thing. Convenience means the whatever the our feelings, whatever we are believing according to our belief system, and this thing. One of the thing, actually, we did that to some extent without before much AI days itself. We consciously took a decision. Whatever the learnings we have, it should be equal level of learnings. Otherwise, there is a different understandings and different this thing might will have a wider gaps of knowledge in every perspective. So that's the reason we went to ISB together. That's the reason we went to INSEAD together. We went to Singularity University together. We went to TED Talks together. So on the learning part, we tried to improve that this thing. That is one thing in the top management who need to be aligned and the conflicts to be minimalized. The level of learnings and understanding should be the similar kind of thing. Still, there are gaps. Of course, we both have gaps and this thing, but significant gaps can be reduced. This thing and also trust based this thing. Integrity is the thing when we believe that trust and integrity. The conflicts also become professional, not personal.
That's absolutely right. But the issue is AI is personalized. It is not learning together, not listening together to somebody, reading something together. It is taking, that's where the issue is. For people, it is very hard to see what is going to be a big challenge. Because earlier, if I had a view, my view density was maybe 5 on 10 scale. Probably on that, your density of view is 7 on 10. As a result, coming to a kind of understanding versus now it is 9.5 each. Coming to resolution is not like our typical car drive. So as that reminds me, whenever we had a difference, we used to go for a road drive. We don't know how far we go, sometimes 400 kilometers, just discussing on the issue, and only after the issue got resolved we used to drive back, because that time the difference density was less. But now in this situation, it is so much more hard. That's where reflection and resilience comes so much more key to, for us
So,
also as individuals, at the same time for our friends to listen to us on that.
so what do you think that the companies to adopt that resilience and that approach in a longer tenure?
Probably, I completely don't know. This itself is a very recent understanding that I am seeing, that is taking so much more time than before to bring agreement on any issue between members. So the time spent to make the boardroom or otherwise execution team to agree on what you are thinking, uh, it is taking a lot more time and effort. That is first thing. So people should have that much more time. Second thing is, the moment when I am aware you are not the same person that you were before, you are also backed by your AI. I am also not the same person. I am also backed by my AI. The change that I see in you or the change you see in me, with that understanding we approach, probably we manage ourselves better. That is one way. Second thing is also give time to self and so reflect what is it, the source. until the other person disagrees. You will be living in your own echo chamber. Echo chambers are very dangerous. You have to trade off between echo chamber and strong disagreements. If you see echo chamber is more dangerous, then you are fine to agree or respect that difference even if it is more intense. So that's where probably the trust factor and awareness factors do play important role.
So this is something like what you mean is backed up by two different AI assistants is having individual lawyers to talk on behalf of us kind of situation.
Yeah, yeah, it is a very interesting time. So while we try to see, as you are explaining for last 25, 30 years on the product, or it is nothing big change or continuum. On one hand, that is also true, but at the same time, the way things are changing, it is even before we realize, it is creating such a kind of rough environments. That is we are seeing in global politics, that we are seeing in companies and boardrooms and the decisions being taken. It's very interesting times.
What I learned over the years is specifically to the companies operate by our colleagues and friends, CEO club members kind of thing. They all focusing on to solve a bigger problems. The growth comes from when you solve the bigger problems and this thing. When you really want to solve a bigger problem, you need to invest a lot. That investment doesn't mean only money. Sometimes may not be money. It could be R&D. It could be invest your time to build the trust. Invest your time to build the culture. So these are all the things we need to have that patience. So the long term leadership needs investment on these things is my view. What do you say?
You just need to be mindful. At least I would like to be very mindful on the fact that the pre-AI world and AI impacting the boardrooms, there is a huge difference. People have not experienced. Of course, you and I also have not experienced. The rate at which it is impacting people who have spent 20, 30 years in that domain and who have built large enterprises also, they are failing to see the change at the rate at which it is happening. Unless we see with that kind of focus, our IC meetings and our knowledge acquisition happens, the risk we run into is a company that is built over 20 years and was creating nice EBITDA and positive numbers. Uh, just maybe 1 year or 1 quarter, we just don't know. One way is change the priorities, be aware, spend more time on learning on both zoom in, zoom out approach. These are few things are relevant for us and relevant for all of us in the CEO club.
How do you see when certain things are getting disrupted and we don't know that when is that moving to anybody? When is that movement to anybody? Do you see that there is a way we measure those risks, or there is a way that either with the zoom in, zoom out approach, kind of telescopic approach, or whatever it may be, can we predict that what kind of changes the new technologies are? Because if you can adopt those changes, you can disrupt others.
See, now Anthropic is writing code and many software services business. Many of our friends are in software services business. For last 2 years, that discussion was happening. They were so much in denial. Uh, and probably many of them are taken by surprise with one announcement. They are people who are in technology space, but not agreeing that the change can happen so sudden. It's not that it happened suddenly. They were not ready to see it that way. The reason, one is the promoter's bias also. At the same time, the team, they are so invested into it. As a result, they try to create a picture that this risk is not going to happen. Recently, one of our friends was mentioning, he knows all this is happening. He was trying and telling his team, guys, unless you adapt and you change, we will run into risk. So please change, please change. But these people always have one or the other reason, nothing is happening. Though it is such an easy thing uh, to change internally, he realized that it's not going to happen. As a result, he has brought an external agency to do that, and they set it up, and those who are falling in line will stay, and others he is planning to ask them to leave. So the problem is, if you overly rely on your own team whose interests are differently aligned, they try to see the picture that way and give you the impression that way.
Could be differently aligned, or could be their knowledge levels or whatever it may be,
Also
and
is a
this
possibility.
thing they are possible. As we are discussing about the teams and this thing, so any organization, their key assets are people. So how do you think that the entire organization as a team we align to organization's purpose and goal?
Unfortunately, organizations, if they are putting effort, and organization by definition will have to survive, for that they have to create opportunity to learn and retain people who learn at the rate they are supposed to, and let people go, those who are not raising their personal bar to the rate at which it is changing. It looks like you are very uh, impersonal and hard on people, but I'm seeing that's the future. Organizations, if they look at them, he is working for 20 years, he is working for, she is working for 10 years, how do I retain them? Organizations are not going to survive. That is how I am seeing.
Finally, before closing, technology and people, on both the topics, do you have any final comments? How both can be leveraged for the organization's growth?
See, any technology in its isolation, it has no meaning and no value. Technology is for people. So, how economically you employ technology and create value economically beneficial is the purpose is all about. That is from a business point of view. Within the organization, to make it profitable, you have to get more and more agile, employ more technology, and let go people who are not raising their bar. Then only as organization it will survive and creates business value. I know people and love are your two buzz factors, and we being people combined. How do you see this changing world, and how do you approach to this world, say, to stay in the business for next 10 years or more?
See, I strongly believe in that love model, as you say that the as an I mean, before that actually I recently had to one of the video podcast of Satya Nadella. So one question somebody asked him that what is innovation? He very simplified innovation means empathy. If you are empathetic to some situation or some people, that is what drives innovation. On that note, I believe strongly that in the organization, it could be all the stakeholders. It could be employees, it could be customers, so it could be shareholders, whoever it may be. We should have that love model applicability. What do I mean by love model is we should build likability with every employee, with every consumer or customer, and with every stakeholder. And part of that likability could be you should do lot of fun activities, you should do a lot of appreciation to the people, and find out, create that buzz among them, that internally they should flow, feel that that inspiration should flow in high pitch. It is not how to do today, how to do is AI will take care. What to do? What to do is also some extent AI is taking care. But at least while you are brainstorming with AI, you have to have that fully buy-in about the situation. Those kind of situations come when they're fully inspired, that inspired thoughts flow in only. That's what my belief. If we are at that stage or any company at that stage, people and technology can be combined. That could be a great opportunity to accelerate.
Looking at business and work, uh, I never had believed there is work-life balance. Work and life are so truly is synergized and one and the same, and life is more important than work. And continuing with that kind of passion and belief, so for more than 3.5 decades we are doing what we are doing, but today when we look at it, we are just a startup guys. Where people ask what are you doing, I just say I'm a startup. So that's what making us so happy about, and to wake up with a purpose, struggle, and do something about it. Learn at least 2 to 3 hours a day so that you stay relevant. Thus, what you are doing is even relevant for the society today. Otherwise, you just be talking about your legacy. So that's what is my mantra, to stay awake and wake up every day with a lot of enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
So before closing, I would like to take up on that startup culture. So like human beings have life cycle, products have life cycle, same way companies and organizations also have life cycle. So how do you extend that life cycle is getting into the startup mode. Startup mode is like kids. Kids will have obviously longer life. So if you can get into startup mode and the lot of learnings happening, lot of buzz happening, and go into everything detail and all those things, every company can have much more longer time. Is one of the learning we had in the past 20, 30 years of business. Thank you.